The National Registry of Unrelated Bone Marrow Donors urgently requires the registration of new donors aged 19 to 40. There is currently a critical shortage of registered First Nation, Asian, and Afro-Canadian donors, meaning that these people, our people, are far less likely to find that one crucial match when they need it most. If you're a young man or woman of First Nation, Asian, or Afro-Canadian descent, you need to get informed and get involved. You can do great good for another human being, and your actions can bring light into the world.
When he first found out that he was ill, he couldn't, he knew something was kind of up, but he actually wanted to get his commercial pilot's license for whatever he had to get done, and they found out that he had leukemia.
I had pneumonia. I had to go to BC Children's Hospital for that. And they treated me there, and I got better. A few months after that, they found out that I had neutropenia, which means that you don't have many white blood cells, and white blood cells fight bacteria. So I got sick a lot, and I always got sick and never got better. So I had to go back to Children's Hospital, and they put me on a bone marrow transplant list.
Well, the bone marrow transplant was our only option to have a chance of survival for Bruce, and at that time it was sort of a fairly new thing, was having unrelated bone marrow transplants, and there were only 300 people in Canada on the bone marrow transplant list.
I was frustrated mostly. I couldn't walk, I couldn't eat, I couldn't do anything right. I always got tired, and and I was emotional sometimes because I saw my family sad, them crying, and that made me sad too. So,
as I remember, waiting to find a donor was sheer hell. It was, you don't know what's going to happen. Like, is it just going to end like this, or is a miracle going to happen?
We have the chance to help our family and our friends, and we have the, those brief opportunities to help someone that you barely know, but to have such a huge impact on someone you've never met or would never met, someone from across the country or around the world, it's exciting to think that you could have that big of an impact on someone's life when really you have no chance of ever meeting them in day-to-day life. So
when I found out I needed a bone marrow transplant, it was scary and happy. I was scared because if we found a bone marrow donor who was a good match, the transplant could not go well and I could die. But if I found an awesome match and the transplant went well, I could survive.
And it was amazing to know that somebody cared enough to give the way they had to give then. Was, it was more difficult than it is now, but it was a piece of her that she was pouring out, giving to someone else, and she was just, as all the people on the registry are, they're just there because they care and because they want to help someone else.
what actually happens during a donation, and basically it was an outpatient procedure. You'd go into the hospital, you'd have a small procedure on your hip, and you'd be up walking a few hours later and be a little sore, and that was the extent of your involvement. And through that little inconvenience and small amount of, discomfort, you could save somebody's life.
They found a donor, a very good match. So they started me on chemo, and 2 months after that I had the transplant. And they put the bone marrow through the IV, and it finds its way to the bone.
By the time they actually found the donor, the cancer had gotten quite far and had advanced and had gone from chronic to acute and was going quite quickly, and so it was too bad that it wasn't found sooner. But
when I first was approached about being a potential donor, I had some discussion with my wife, and like a lot of people, I think there's some misinformation about bone marrow donation. People think that it's a huge deal and it's a huge impact on you. So I think it's important for people to talk about it and to get some information, because it really is, you know, it's not a big deal to donate bone marrow, and the way technology is going, it's become a smaller and smaller deal.
The more people that sign up, the less weight people will have, and the more chance they would have of a complete cure. People are cured with this bone marrow transplant, and it's pretty fabulous what they've done with the Bone Marrow Society.
It was something that was a slam dunk as far as I was concerned, because it's so simple to just, you know, check the box, look into what you need to do, and jump through the very small hoops that are available for you, and you just go on the list, and you may never be called, but there's always that chance that someone somewhere desperately needs what you have, and you'll be given the opportunity to help them out.
The best thing about being alive is probably hanging out with my family, visiting with them, hugging, playing around, snowmobiling. It's great.
I think I'd encourage people to look on the internet or talk to their doctors, find out what's involved, and it really is pretty non-invasive and getting to be more and more so.
If I could, I would be a donor, because it's a great feeling, saving somebody's life, helping out.